inside the cap, the $1 million restriction that I gave you. If they were to go out and just traditionally issue bonds, that will fall within that 1 million. Again, we'll take a look at this in a moment. So general capital assets are acquired from expenditures of the general fund, the special revenue funds, and the capital projects fund. And this is what we'll take a look at, is the capital projects itself. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in a moment. Now, so what are the various ways in which you can acquire capital assets? What can you do? Oops, sorry, just lost my. What are the various ways in which you can acquire assets through? Well, you can go purchase it, right? And when you purchase it, what do you record the asset at? Always. And it's no different than business. It is at what? At historical cost, whatever you've paid for it, right? And to whatever expenses there are to put it to use, right? And then sometimes government get assets which are donated to them. If they're donated assets, they are valued at fair market value. So you got a collection of some, you've got a painting or you've got some artwork. Well, you value that and somebody donated that to you. You value that at fair market value, not at historical cost. So if you purchase it, it's at historical cost. If it's donated, it's at fair market value. So you purchased an asset for $1,000, $1 million, whatever it might be. It costs you $20,000 for transportation. It costs you $20,000 legal fees. What's your total cost of that asset? Is it just 1 million or 1 million plus those two items? Plus those two items. It has to be what it takes to put that asset to use. All right? Let me give you another example. You go out, somebody comes in and donates their collection of taxidermy birds to, to the government to display. So you get it appraised, and it's valued at $10,000. $10,000. Now you scratch your head and say, how am I going to record this transaction? Because remember, in the governmental funds, modified accrual basis, everything seems to revolve around cash, right? Any cash exchange here? Actually, there isn't, and you're not recording it in governmental balance sheet anyway because it's a capital asset. But how about under the accrual basis? How would you record a transaction like that? Somebody gave you, yeah. Well, it would be at fair market value because it's donated, but the journal entry there is you have to debit an asset, right, for $10,000. What do you credit? You credit a revenue account, some kind of a revenue account, which is because there's no cash involved here, okay? And you'll see examples of that in the book. The other thing that you'll find is that in governments, everybody know, did you learn about capitalization, what value you must capitalize assets at? So for instance, if you went out and bought a PC for $500 in a government, just one PC, would you capitalize it? Well, you'll ask, what is the capitalization policy? What is the minimum value that I need to meet for the asset to be capitalized? And the government might have a capitalization policy of $10,000. If you buy assets of $10,000 or more, you capitalize them. If not, what do? You expense it, which raises an interesting question. If you buy one PC, it's not, but if you bought 10 PCs or 20 PCs, you capitalize them. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't tag the inventory. You still might tag for control purposes, but it's just that you don't record that in your books. So